You may have seen me online in the previous two fundraising events, and it's so much nicer looking at all of you wonderful people than a laptop. Anyway, we are going to crack on with the program. I just want to turn your attention primarily to the sponsors we have this evening. I know there's a lot of them here, and I do want to give a round of applause and say thank you to all these people whose kind support has gone such a long way to helping Power My Learning. Now it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage the first of tonight's speaker. She barely needs any kind of introduction, but she'll get one anyway. A former teacher, MIT engineer, White House fellow, and a Peace Corps volunteer. As I say, she needs no introduction. She is the CEO and co-founder, Elizabeth Stock.
Thank you for the introduction, Jamie. Good evening, everyone. I am here tonight to talk a little bit about what Power My Learning does and to introduce the recipient of our Education Impact Award, Mark Malaspina. It has been just over 2 years since the pandemic began. During that time, Power My Learning doubled down on a big question. How can we unlock the power of collaboration between teachers, students, and families? So typical relationships between teachers and students and families can be represented with a line, with families and teachers on the end disconnected from each other. So Power My Learning, we shift that dynamic by bending the line down into a triangle of learning relationships, where students, teachers, and families build trust with one another and work in partnership to support student success. Power My Learning has been pursuing this triangle approach for decades, and this school year, we increased our reach to more than 125 schools across the country. We also saw improvement in student mastery, well-being, and sense of belonging. But why does this matter now? Well, first, in an era of unprecedented teacher burnout, teachers in Power My Learning partner schools resoundingly agree that support from Power My Learning has made their year easier for them. Our support took the form of coaching and of educator workshops. Our support included resources to strengthen instruction with students and team up with families. And research backs the idea that when families are involved, teacher retention improves. And the combination of having a supportive partner in Power My Learning and families as allies has helped teachers and schools thrive this year. Second, this school year, more families expressed a desire to support their children's learning than in prior years. In Power My Learning, we met that desire by offering families family workshops focused on supporting learning at home and connecting with their child's teacher, as well as through a program called Family Playlists, which includes fun, hands-on learning activities in more than 100 languages for students and families to complete together. Third, in a year when students are catching up from interrupted learning and recovering from trauma, we learned that the triangle approach led to students experiencing a more than 15% greater average social-emotional learning outcomes, as measured by the intrinsic motivation scale. Power My Learning accomplished all this through teamwork. I want to take a brief moment to acknowledge my co-founder, Dan Dolgen, who left an indelible mark on so many and who passed away in February. He was an incredible teammate and partner. Dan will be remembered for making a difference in countless lives and for approaching everything he did with smarts, generosity, humor, care, and love. Please join us in honoring his legacy and embodying his wonderful spirit as we continue to advance Power My Learning's mission. Dan thought the world of Mark Malispina, Power My Learning's president, who is transitioning out of Power My Learning in June after 12 years at the organization. And I'm excited to share about the impact Mark has had on Power My Learning. Under Mark's leadership, Power My Learning developed innovative, research-based programs and products, partnered with schools and districts across the country to accelerate student academic achievement and social-emotional learning, and developed a strong data culture to enable evidence building and continuous improvement. A huge part of Mark's legacy at PowerMyLearning will be the pivotal role he played in improving our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. As one example, Mark led an inclusive process with staff to develop and ensure PowerMyLearning lives our organizational values. And I'll give you one quick example of how Mark has lived out each one of those values. So the first one is strengthen relationships. So Mark is willing to laugh at himself. Such as the day the staff all dressed like Mark, coming to the office wearing his signature blue-collared shirt. Second one, embody humility. In addition to the blue shirt thing, each month at our all-staff meetings, Mark and I answer staff questions during a portion of the meeting called Ask Me Anything. Mark consistently answers these questions with humility, acknowledging the contributions of others. The third is embrace learning. Mark has helped PowerMyLearning meet the needs of our school and district partners based upon the changing needs in education, as well as feedback gathered from our students, teachers, and families, with particular attention paid to feedback from those whose voices are often not sought. And the fourth is advance equity. Mark is a fierce champion for equity, and through his leadership, Mark has provided staff with opportunities for meaningful participation, leadership, and advancement, ensuring we all have the strong team we have today. For all those reasons and more, I will miss Mark dearly, and I'm also pleased to honor our president, Mark Malispina, with our Educational Impact Award. Please give a warm welcome to Mark.
Well, I didn't get to read Elizabeth's speech ahead of time, and I think if I had, I might have changed the color of my shirt. It's blue. Thank you, Elizabeth, for those warm words. It's really great to see so many of you here in person. This event, the gala event, is the highlight of my spring for the last 12 years, but having it in person is so much more special than doing it in Zoom, just like pretty much everything else in life. So welcome, and thank you all for being here. As I wind down my time at PowerMyLearning, I want to say a special thank you to my colleagues and board. This time has been really special for me, and each of you is the reason why. I have not really ever in my life been with such a talented, dedicated, and collaborative group of people, and it's been just a real privilege to be learning together with all of you. So tonight, I'd like to share a couple of thoughts about what I've learned at PowerMyLearning over the last 12 years. I'm going to relay a couple of stories and end with a radical proposition. So I joined PowerMyLearning originally because I was intrigued to find an education organization that took the role of families seriously. It's part of what we now call the triangle of learning relationships, but it's always been a core part of what this organization has believed in and has worked with, is families. And one of the best parts of my job has been the opportunity to actually speak with the families that we serve and to learn about their experiences. So I want to tell you about one family that I met several years ago in Los Angeles. As part of a federal grant that we were running, we operated dozens and dozens of family workshops across Los Angeles, and I traveled to LA several times to watch the program in action and get to meet the people that we were working with. So many of the families that we worked with were immigrants from Latin America and Asia, and I would try to strike up conversations with them to learn about their experiences, what led them here, and what their experiences were like in the schools. So at one workshop, I spoke with a mother who was there with her 13-year-old daughter. I remember the conversation well because it was a rocky conversation. Spanish is my second language, and Spanish was actually her second language as well. She grew up in Guatemala speaking the Mayan language of Quiché, and had learned Spanish kind of along the way, but we were kind of struggling a little bit to communicate. But once she started telling the story of her life, it was really moving and I think meaningful. She had wanted to go to college growing up, but she had to drop out of high school so that she could work at a textile factory and contribute money to her family. Later, as a single mother with 2 children, the violence that we all read about in Central America was real, and it really affected her. She decided she had to leave, so she came to the States with her 2 children. And what she told me then was that her daughter, who was with her, was her dream. And her daughter wanted to become a scientist. And the mother said she would do whatever it would take to support her, even though the mother didn't speak English. So the mother was excited to be at school that morning. It was early on a Saturday morning, which is when we were doing those workshops. And she wanted to learn from us and from our Spanish-speaking family trainers what she could do to support her daughter in school. And what I remember most about this conversation was that the daughter was there listening. The daughter spoke Spanish, so she understood. And just like my daughter would have been, she was super embarrassed that her mom was talking about her. But she was also really, really happy, I think, to hear her mother affirm her aspirations to be a scientist. And speaking to them, I know that her mother was an incredibly important part of her learning journey as she moved to college and beyond. My second story is more recent. In the years since that conversation, as Elizabeth alluded to, we've really evolved our programming. So we have lots of different family workshops. We have capacity building for educators. We have family playlists that Elizabeth mentioned. And family playlists, just to say a word about those, are interactive games that you can do between a family partner and a child. And at the end, the child actually is on video explaining to the family partner what the child knows, what the child learned. And the video is then submitted to the teacher. So one of the things that we've been learning about is what the impact of a program like that is. And we've collected lots of data. We've done random control trials and seen really positive impacts. But I think the most exciting thing that we've seen are testimonials coming back from the teachers about what this means for their instructional practice. So I want to read a quote that we just got a few weeks ago from 2 teachers. They were working with a young student with special learning needs, and this is what they said, quote, "A win we wanted to share, exclamation point. There was a recording the parent uploaded for the family playlist, and it surprised both of us. That student has never enunciated so clearly in class before. So hearing the video was wonderful to know what she's capable of. We now need to find a way to engage her in the classroom and make her feel safe enough to speak up the way she does at home." As this quote shows, a child benefits directly from working together with their family partner, and this process can also help teachers improve their own instructional practices in ways that would not have happened otherwise. These 2 stories for me surface a few themes that I've seen again and again throughout my 12 years at PowerMyLearning. First, families, regardless of their own background, are committed to their children's education success, and deeply, deeply committed. Second, children are motivated and strengthened by their family's commitment to learning. And finally, teachers become even more effective when they partner with and learn from families. So my radical proposition: I think that families represent our greatest hope for significantly improving educational outcomes. For far too long, education reform efforts have focused largely on what happens in classrooms between teachers and their students. These efforts, such as improvements to standards, assessments, and instructional materials, are very worthwhile and important, but they have not been enough. We know from the statistics that there continue to be large deficits in student achievement across large portions of the population. What we've learned at PowerMyLearning is that families represent a huge untapped potential resource. Families can play an important role because they are uniquely motivated to support their children's aspirations and uniquely situated as a learning partner to catalyze their children's success. But in many districts and schools, families have largely been excluded from this process. And when families are considered at all, they're often used for political purposes, such as politicians invoking, quote, family values in their efforts to impose oppressive policies regarding race, gender, sexuality on school communities. I believe that Power My Learning points the way towards a much brighter future. Through our thought leadership and the success of our programs, we can demonstrate the transformative power of families, and we can help change the national education conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mark. So beautifully spoken. Another round of applause for Mark. I know, Mark, you're going to be a man that Power My Learning is sorely going to miss because you were such an impact on the team. But somebody else that has such a high impact on the team is an executive director who I'm going to introduce next. Just some of her accolades. She's in charge of working with community partners, districts and schools, and local leaders to pave the way for stronger practices of learning together between families, students, and teachers in their community. Ladies and gents, please put your hand together for Christina Cuolo.
Thank you, Jamie, and congratulations to Mark on your well-deserved honor. I'm so pleased to be here tonight and to see so many faces in person, finally. Thank you so much for being here. I have the incredible opportunity to introduce very many important people and get you excited for the main event tonight, which is Power My Learning's Triangle Award of Teacher, Student, and Parent of the Year. The past couple of years have been very challenging for school communities across the country and right here in New York City. We are very proud to work closely with our 21 school partners across all 5 boroughs who are doing tireless work day after day to help students, teachers, and their families learn together. We see firsthand the impact that strong learning relationships can have, and we're proud to support that triangle. We're joined tonight by several members of the Brooklyn Landmark Elementary School community. I want to shout out, Principal Joyce Beckles-Knights, who is She is an excellent example of what a school leader should be. She cares so deeply about her scholars, she advocates for her teachers, and seeks out the support that's needed for her school. There are also a few Brooklyn Landmark educators who participate in Power My Learning's programming that are also with us tonight. Could we have all of the teachers and school leaders that are here stand up and be recognized quickly? Thank you all for everything you do. We also have 2 exemplary students and family members who we want to honor. So if I could have Shamel and his mom, Kimberly, and Quentin and his mom, Latoya, come up to the stage. Now on to Travis Terry. Travis is the president of Capilino, the largest urban strategy firm in the country. He oversees the execution of Capilino's mission, which is to help clients to succeed in New York and play a key role in spearheading the future of New York City. He previously served as the firm's chief operating officer for nearly a decade. I'm sure he's really good at that job, but I know that he's an incredible thought partner, supporter, and advocate of Power My Learning, and he has been since he joined our advisory board in 2009 and then became board chair in 2019. Travis has proven his dedication to both education and New York City, serving on several boards and always bringing a unique perspective to the table. Travis has helped us connect with local elected officials and gain support across the city. This year, Power My Learning more than doubled the funding that we receive from New York City Council members, which also means double the impact. I am so personally appreciative of his guidance, passion for our work, dedication to improving this city, and just overall being a really great person that anyone is very lucky to know. Please help me in honoring Travis with Power My Learning's Community Leadership Award.
Christina, thank you so much. I mean, I can't tell you how much those words mean to me. And I think if everybody could just give a round of applause for Christina. She really deserves it. I'm also thrilled that you're my height, so like we're going to keep the same. This is just such an incredible honor for me. From the bottom of my heart, I really just want to thank Power My Learning, the incredible staff, the board of directors. Oops, sorry, it's flying around here. For all the impact you're making on every day. It's really just incredible to see. I want to congratulate my friend Mark Malispina for his very worthy award. Mark, I didn't get the blue shirt memo, but I did wear a blue tie in your honor. I hope that's okay. And I want to thank really the true stars of the night, Kurian and Jahid, for their recognition as Parent and Student of the Year. You so deserve it. I want to, so many people to thank. My God, I feel like I'm accepting an Oscar. I want to acknowledge the extraordinary team at Capolino. I see my friend Brian here, who have helped. It's not just me. At Capolino, you really get a family environment, and so many people at our firm have really worked hard to make PML successful. I want to especially acknowledge my family, my kids, my wife, Becky, who's here. She just, if anyone deserves this honor, it's her for putting up with me, I guess. They're my guiding force, my motivation for everything, and what keeps me really excited about PML. You know, I have to say, and I want to pick up a little bit on what Mark was saying too, is, you know, I've had the privilege of engaging with so many parents in my life and teachers, and I've always realized one special thing. No matter what the obstacles, no matter whether you're wealthy or unwealthy, whether you speak English or not, whether you're a single parent, a same-sex parent, a straight parent, whether your child, like ours, has a learning difficulty, everyone wants a bright future for their kid. Everybody strives for that at the expense of, frankly, complete mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion. We will all do everything we possibly can. And it's this experience to me. There's so much in this world today that's trying to divide us. But it's this experience that binds us together and something that we have to continue to have hope with. You know, for everyone here supporting this awesome organization, it's our responsibility to play a role in that. Show of hands, how many people have heard the phrase, "it takes a village to raise a child"? Right? Everybody has. It's so obvious. But the hard part is building the village, particularly in today's modern society. You know, actions to me always speak so much louder than words. And as beautiful as that phrase is, it's complicated to build that village. And it's our responsibility to do that, to cultivate it, to enable it, to improve it when it's not working or something might be obsolete. And to me, this is the core of Power My Learning's brilliance. They created and maintained this ecosystem in a modern society, this village, this triangle, as they call it, of connection between parents, teachers, and students. That's the vision. And guess what? It works. We've seen it. We've heard it in the stories that we've been told when we've connected with the participants, I think we'll hear more about it soon, it means so much to people. You know, Elizabeth, you're a hero. You're a hero to me. And what you and Dan have created is extraordinary. You know, you didn't just have a vision, you executed on it. And the people here tonight show how much they love what you've accomplished. And I should just also point out, by the way, if you ever needed more evidence that Al Gore did, in fact, create the internet, Elizabeth Stock. You know, every day, it's amazing to me that Power My Learning is empowering the smartest students and, frankly, those that are struggling, whether it's because of a learning difficulty or because something they're dealing with at home. PML is providing, I almost said computers to youth, by the way, but PML is providing tools for dedicated teachers and dedicated parents, and together we see a rise in test scores and self-esteem, parental engagement. That's not accidental. That's purposeful. You know, people tend to forget that 1 in 300 Americans are New York City public school students. That's the scale of the New York City public school system. And there's such talent in this system. We've seen it, we've felt it. Even in the face of educational underfunding, yes, teachers definitely deserve to be paid more. I'm totally on board with that. And even with a wide variety of systematic inequities, PML participants are finding success every day. You know, in this village that PML has created, the sky's the limit. And I'm guessing, again, we're going to hear more about that in a few minutes. Let me end by just saying this, if I can. I believe this organization is just scratching the surface of what it can achieve. It's really great to see everybody here, and I really hope you'll go home, tell your friends, tell your family, tell the people you work with about this organization. Because with your help, continued funding, and effort, we can do so much more. Every dollar invested in PML is another parent and student empowered. Every dollar is a step closer to realizing the God-given potential in each individual. It's a smile and sometimes a proud tear on a parent's face or a teacher's face. It's a feeling of hope and pride across this village that PML has created. I am so truly honored to be here tonight. This has meant the world to me. I'm so proud of what you've built, Christina, Elizabeth, and to the PML team and the board of directors and everybody else. Congratulations on everything. You really deserve so much credit for what you've accomplished. And count me in for the next fight. We're in with you. Thank you, everyone. This reward, it really means the world to me. Christina, thank you.
Thank you so much, Travis. We have reached a very exciting part of tonight's event where we honor our Power My Learning Triangle awardees. These 3 have been selected for their dedication to fostering relationships on all sides of the triangle, recognizing the whole student, connecting families to curriculum, and helping families engage more fully in their child's education. Our Teacher of the Year, Ms. Sikdar Ali, is compassionate. She's compassionate, reliable, and enthusiastic. She values the role that families play in her students' learning and has made a concerted effort to involve them in a meaningful way. Jahid is Power My Learning's youngest student of the year ever. A kindergartner who loves working with his mom, Carrie Ann, on his homework and on family playlists. Jahid's success this year is a testament to the strength of the learning triangle, a student working hard to learn concepts, a family that supports him, and a teacher who makes learning fun, all to meet his needs as an individual and to help him and inspire him to do his best. We are so proud of the work that each of you have done this school year learning together. It is my great honor to now call to the stage Ms. Sikdar Ali, our 2022 Teacher of the Year.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank Power My Learning for this great honor tonight. It's almost not fair to receive an award for something that I love doing. A few months ago, I participated in a few educator workshops. Shortly after that, we started working with Power My Learning and using the family playlist in my classroom. It has been such a helpful tool to have as a teacher of little ones, with the support of Lauren, my coach, and the whole organization. They have been instrumental in bettering my instruction. Through my experiences and learnings from working with Power My Learning, I decided the best way to support my students through the lens of social and emotional learning. Small tweaks like intentional think time for my students to reflect and help them internalize what they've learned, and as well as adding classical music to help facilitate reflection, have really made a difference in my instruction. These small tweaks are having a great impact in my students, all my students' learning, and I look forward to seeing more progress. So thank you for recognizing me tonight. Lastly, but never the least, thank you, Mrs. Knights, Mrs. Dawson, Brooklyn Landmark Elementary School, and my family for all your immense support. Thank you. Thank you. Now I am honored to present an award to Jahid Clark and Mrs. Henry.
Do you want to say a few words?
Is it my turn?
You can. We can even do the mic down here if you like. Do you want to say just a few words? Do you want to say thank you, Power My Learning, and maybe say what your favorite subject is or something? No?
No? It's okay, honey. You did good, okay? Thank you.
No? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. We would like to say thank you to Power by Learning for honoring my son and me. I'd also like to thank Mrs. Sickler for her hard work and never giving up on her students. A few weeks ago, Ms. Sickler and I identified a struggle in Jahid. We noticed he was struggling with counting by tens in math class. Then, shortly after, we started using Power My Learning family playlist, and I thought it was regular homework. Then I started to notice Jahid was enjoying these assignments, and they didn't look anything like traditional homework. As a dedicated mom, I made sure I set time aside to work with Jahid in doing his homework. We have a lot of fun, and I have learned a lot just by doing them with him. As many as you can relate, math is not taught the same way you and I were taught. Completing these assignments with Jahid has allowed me to stay in the loop about what my son is doing in class and where he struggles. They also allow me to learn the way he is learning so I can better support him. I mean, just the other day I noticed he was mixing up his numbers and saying 19 instead of 90. In a class full of screaming children, it might be difficult for Ms. Sickler to notice such important but subtle details. But by using family playlists, I was able to communicate with Ms. Sickler, and we both support Jahid at home and in the classroom. I'm happy to say that we have both seen tremendous improvement in Jahid. It really has been super helpful to have a platform like this, and I look forward to seeing Jahid continues to improve. Thank you again for this honor, Power of My Learning, and thank you, Ms. Slicker, for all your support. Thank you.
Let's give another round of applause for our Triangle Award winners tonight.